welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're approaching the end of the year, and we're finally getting to our Kendrick review. That's what you get when you drop unannounced the week before Thanksgiving and everyone's traveling. Anyway, how's everyone?
Doing
Better
well.
than Purvis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, in case you are missing the creator of the show, Purvis Funches, who runs through our news and kind of is the heart and soul of the whole thing. He is sick. He's very sick again. But he'll be on next week to give his thoughts on this album.
If he's not sick.
If he's not sick again. Yeah, we may have to quarantine him for several. What if he's patient zero for the next pandemic?
What is it called? This is patient zero. What's the name of the virus?
It would have to be called the Funch virus. I don't know, like
The Funchies?
Yeah, the Funchist 24 or something like that. It's the Funch flu. There we go. I got there. Jeff, do you want to run us through the news or in the albums, or do you want me to do it? Who gives a shit?
You could do it.
All right, so we got a lot of odds and ends. Some cool, some so not. Albums dropping this week. We got Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday 2. I believe this is like some kind of deluxe. Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre are dropping Missionary because old dudes acting out of pocket is going to be a running theme for the rest of this episode and the rest of time.
I mean, the rollout's been pretty cool.
I don't doubt it. I have not heard it much. I haven't noticed it, but I'll have to dive in.
I mean, they're doing a concert together, so.
Oh, they are?
I assume they might be, yeah.
I assume it's in Compton or LA.
It's out in California, definitely. I don't remember. I think it
might be LA.
Well, it's definitely LA. I'm thinking it's the where the Clippers play.
The Staples Center? No.
No, that's where the Lakers. That's the bigger one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not the Forum, is it?
The Forum?
The Forum?
No, I think
yes,
it's the Forum.
It's got a new name.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Beyond that, we have The Alchemist and Rock Marciano dropping The Skeleton Key, which will probably be the one I listen to. And Sleepy Hollow, Read This When You Wake Up. Any hot takes? Anyone? I love The Alchemist. He's done a lot this year. He's released a lot this year. He's been one of my most listened to artists. I think he was like the third most popular artist listened to by artists or something like that.
I saw that. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So him and Rock Marciano have to be just like a goated combination at this point. So I'll definitely be tuning in for The Skeleton Key. Does anyone else have any takes?
No,
I mean,
like
it'll be interesting. Yeah,
I'll give Missionary a run through, but that's really it.
Absolutely.
Most things I've heard by Sleepy Hollow I've liked, like that I've just heard in passing, so I might give that a try. We'll see.
Yeah. Can you give me some background on who Sleepy Hollow is? I don't even know.
I need to pull up some stuff, but like I heard him once just like out in public, like his music was playing at a store I was in, and I kind of looked into him a little bit at the time. And he was solid. He's Jamaican American. He's a young guy, 24. What is his? Yeah, it's like Brooklyn drill. So like, I love Pop Smoke. This kind of goes in my lane a little bit.
This is like in the Pop Smoke drill vein.
Yeah, it's a little different. I don't think it's nearly like as intense or aggressive. His voice is not that like that pretty much, but yeah, he's definitely like in a vein in that same kind of style.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't think I've heard a lot of it. Does seem like the drill scene kind of pootered out when Pop Smoke passed. And it was huge. It was huge when Pop Smoke was around, but you know, the third wave drill. But yeah.
All right. The whole decline of Ice Spice has made it.
Yeah, exactly. Like she was kind of like she really was like the last big anyone that kind of had a drill sound at all was Ice Spice.
Yeah, we'll see
And
if that
she's
continues.
and she
But
yeah,
yeah,
and she wasn't exactly a one hit wonder, not at all, but like she has peaked and has come back down the earth pretty fast. All right. So as far as singles and videos, we got Benny X and Little Yachty, Smoking in the Rain, Offset, Swing My Way, Glorilla Kalani, Xmas Time, Polo
wild.
G, Thug Memories, Memorials, and Will Smith, Junior Lucas, Tantrum.
Make it stop.
Yeah, make it
Make it
stop.
stop.
Make it stop.
Stop right now.
I do
Not
not
listening.
like Junior Lucas at all. It that's gonna be cringy. I didn't mind the song he did that was an actual tribute to Will Smith.
Mhm.
That was probably the only Junior Lucas song I ever didn't actually hate.
Yeah.
But no, this was not a combination I needed more of.
I don't remember. Do we have a worst song and worst album for Gold Nugget?
No,
Is
we
that a
kind of
category?
have a policy of not being negative. Like
I don't know.
not
I
not
think
being
you could
not being
really.
overly negative. Not like intentionally having things where like we're calling things out for being bad. Uh I think there's a difference between being negative and being critical. Uh
Sure.
yeah, but no, we could.
Yeah. Between this and Eternal Take Two, I think we've got some pretty strong
Dude,
contenders. I'm not gonna
I didn't even go through Eternal Take 2. Like
save
I
yourself, brother.
huh? Yeah,
Save yourself. Don't buy.
You're the Uzi defender cuz you liked Pink Tape. Like
I
every
like
time you've
more,
called
more than Pink.
Still Praying mid, I just got to say to myself, he liked Pink Tape. He doesn't know what he does. But like
And let's
I
not
like.
forget Vultures 1 and 2.
oh god.
Yeah, yeah. Pink
Yeah.
Tape. There's songs that are good. There's nothing redeeming about anything on Eternal Take. Like if you thought Pink Tape was bad at like a one, like I'd be surprised, what you would think of this. It's just
The thing is that like you say that, like, but the thing you just said, I actually don't disagree with. There were songs I liked on Pink Tape.
yeah,
It's just that I liked the 6 songs on a 30-track album.
yeah. I'm the same way. You and I just have a different outlook on that because like I listen to those 6 songs and my likes and I like it and I would never revisit the album. It's just I like those songs.
Yeah, but then yeah, and I guess it gets down to like, are we reviewing songs or albums?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think as far as what am I going to listen to from this, probably nothing. But I'll probably listen to the Glorilla Kalani song because one, I do genuinely really like Glorilla. I think she's had a hell of a year.
Mhm.
And I think it's funny that they're releasing a Christmas song.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, Kelani right now is kind of
Yeah.
a spicy individual, right? I don't know the whole
Yeah. No,
detail.
she's kind of in the midst of being canceled.
Yeah.
For
Choice Glorilla, someone who's
valid reasons, I would say. Kind of like weird
yeah,
cult stuff. Like
yeah. And it's weird that Glorilla's willing to like partner up with that, given that she's like really coming into like mainstream prominence now, I would think. And it's just like, is that the career move? I guess we'll see.
I don't want to sit here and pretend like women aren't a genuinely persecuted minority who are having their rights taken away. But I also don't think like that radioactivity that comes with being canceled, like I don't think it applies the same to female artists.
That's fair. Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Like I just don't think it does. Like I think eventually it will come for Kalani, but like I don't think she's the first off, dudes are still working with Kanye. So it's like
Yeah.
like what can you say about that? But I just don't think like it just goes the other way nearly as bad.
Yeah.
You're a Benny X fan though. Are you at all? Because I listened to the Little Yachty James Blake album. I couldn't get through it. I didn't think it was awful, but it was just abrasive and uninteresting.
I haven't listened. I don't really go in for like a ton of Lil Yachty. Like the stuff I like, and it's like the hits.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm very much a tourist when it comes to his discography. And I think like he's gotten a lot more refined over time and like his style has evolved, but I don't know. Yeah. And Benny X, like I think I like a good amount of the solo Benny X production, but I think I prefer actually like the Working on Dying stuff that came earlier. I think that was like kind of the peak was like the original Eternal Take era, and like when Working on Dying was doing all those songs on the original version of that,
Yeah.
and like a lot of the stuff on I think Love is Rage 2, like those were like real highlights for me, and he was a part of that collective. So that was like my foray into that. I think a lot of his solo stuff with Yeet has stood the test of time. Like I would probably give this a try. I just yeah, I'm not like anywhere near. I'm a very casual Yachty listener, I would say.
Okay, that's interesting because like I don't know. I don't hate Yachty the way a lot of people with my disposition who saw him rise do.
Mhm.
Like, there are definitely a lot of songs that he's made that I've liked, but like generally speaking, I dislike more than I've disliked more than I have liked. Like the rock project he dropped earlier this year, I didn't think it was bad, but I thought it was very derivative.
Let's
Um,
start. Is it let's start from
let's start
let's
here or
start.
something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like that. I thought, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it was bad. I think it was interesting that the guy who made Minnesota made it, but like,
Yeah,
beyond that, I didn't love it.
yeah. I think the highs in his discography are like really high, and like songs that really defined an era of music. I think now that we're out of that era, it's like how do you evolve and continue? But he's never had a project that has elevated to that level. It's only been singles for so
Yeah,
like, you know, like Broccoli and I Spy in like the SoundCloud era, and now like Poland is like his kind of
no.
resurgence in like the single space, but none of his albums have ever reached the heights of those
And
singles.
Poland
So
was 90 seconds long. Like,
yeah, no, 100%. But it's like it's an
yeah.
earworm.
Oh, I
It,
love that
it's
song. I love that song, but like it's 90 seconds. It's like,
yeah, it's
um,
peak like TikTok soundbite type stuff. But it's
yeah,
just like yeah, where does he go from here? And like what album does
exactly.
he make
And the thing is,
himself
I
as
think he's
like
just like, I think he's just a much more mature artist now, but I don't think he has found a much more mature sound yet. I think he's
I think
looking
he's
for
held
it.
back by his fan base.
Oh, 100%. And I think like, yeah, I think audience lock is going to be a huge thing
Yeah.
with, that entire SoundCloud crew that are still
Mhm.
around. I think you have to be like someone like a Tyler or a Denzel Curry to a lesser
Yeah.
extent and be willing to say, no, fuck you, I'm gonna like go my own way. And like kind of like let everyone feel the consequence. But
Yeah.
I just don't think a lot of them have it in it. And like, it's I also think it's gonna be interesting as their audience ages, right? Because there's certainly some who have aged with their audience, like Denzel and 21. I think have definitely aged with their audience, but like, has Uzi not really, but has he aged with his audience? I think when I Just Want to Rock came out, I think that kind of rebooted him.
Yeah.
That
100%.
kind of gave him like another huge in route with like the 16-year-olds who were not even probably even listening to music when he first hit the scene.
Yeah, I feel like Poland did that to a lesser extent for Yachty because the number of kids who were going crazy for Yachty at Summer Smash were just like it was unprecedented because he was blowing up when I was early college, and it's like there's kids there who are like 15, 16 who are going crazy over some of his stuff.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Well, yeah. Now, shall we move into the news? Because most of it's depressing. A lot like the news in real life. Anyway, well, it appears that the first big star has fallen from the Diddy case because I'm trying to be normal about this. Jay-Z has had allegations come out, resurface due to the Diddy case, and it is not looking good. I think he is very grateful that there is an assassin story going on in the news right now. Like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't realize that that song "Forever Young" was about his sexual preferences, but here
yeah,
we are.
yeah, and like I brought when I was talking about this with Rachel, she always brings up like people forget that like he was like 28 and like Beyonce was 16 when they first met, and it's like, oh yeah, that's shisty. That's not a good look. It's like,
That's like approaching Seinfeld levels of like, ugh.
yeah, God, my favorite thing was I remember there was just like this meme trail, and it was under this video, and it's these 4 comedians debating on should white dudes be able to say the N word in their comedy,
Yeah.
and Jerry Seinfeld was the only one. It was like Jerry Seinfeld, Louis C.K., that one British guy, and Chris Rock.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, yeah. And even Chris Rock was like, yeah, you should say it. And like Jerry Seinfeld was like, no, you can't. You shouldn't. And I actually don't care that a black guy is saying that you could. You shouldn't. And under that, someone posted a picture. It's like, here's a picture of Jerry Seinfeld dropping his 16-year-old girlfriend off at high school without saying the N-word.
Yep. Yeah.
Very funny. Anyway, yeah, no, this is heartbreaking and real bad. And I think
First domino in the takedown is Jay-Z.
I think the good news is that it couldn't possibly get bigger.
Is this a civil case?
Huh?
Is this
I
a
have
civil-
no idea. I think it's a civil case, but like
Yeah.
it's about sexual assault, so it's not
Sure.
minor.
Yeah.
I know. Someone was hurt here. Let's move forward. But yeah, no, not great. A lot more of these are going to come out. It's going to be real bad for a lot of people.
I mean, at this point, he wishes he had girl problems.
Yeah, he officially has 100 problems.
Yeah.
Like he officially has 100 problems, and yeah, you know, there's a lot of things.
This is just one of the 99.
Yeah, no, and yeah, it's not a great look. Not a great look for Jay-Z. Not a great look for hip hop in general. Boy, I have a list of people that I'm just worried.
Do we think this will rock the nation?
Yeah, it will. I think it will. I think if it wasn't for the fact that the nation is thoroughly distracted by something more important, I think.
Yeah, but this is, you're gonna get, with who's gonna be president, you're gonna start getting people asking why haven't names come out with the Epstein.
Well, the reason why names haven't come out with the
Because-
Epstein is because Trump
But
is Epstein's
we know
Jay-Z.
why.
Like,
We know exactly, but we know why.
yeah, exactly.
But people are gonna start asking that. It's like, why are names coming out? It's gonna be a race thing. I guarantee it.
It's absolutely a factor, right? Now, I've thought a lot about the Epstein thing. I have my theories about him. I think he's Mossad, and I think that's a huge factor, right? But yeah, and I think the thing is that, like, you know, the difference, Epstein and Diddy are kind of very, very similar spots. But the thing is, Diddy has dirt on the people we know and love. Epstein had dirt on the people who have power over us. So like it's two different things, but the thing is that like no one's a fan of the people on the Epstein tapes. No one's Spotify
Those are the ones
Wrapped.
that need to be taken
There's
down.
no overlap between someone's Spotify Wrapped and like the flight logs on the Lolita Express, right?
Do you mean to tell me that Ghislaine Maxwell isn't about to drop the sickest beat of 2024?
Only if she's in the same penitentiary as Bobby Schmurder.
Oh my! Can you imagine?
I'm saying, what if she's in the same one, ends up same one as Diddy? Diddy produces it. They just release all the names. They don't even just let the media leak it. They just
I just
release
moved to
all the
Asia.
names.
I just call it. I'm done. I'm done living in the West.
If you move to Asia, then you're subject to all the news about Kanye's Asian redemption tour that's been going on. And that's the whole thing. So,
Good. Gives me an opportunity to United Healthcare him. Anyway.
I'm going to Australia. Screw you guys.
God. Yeah, no, exactly. I'll probably go to Latin America, start shooting plantation owners. I don't know. Like
You're going to just run Cuba.
maybe we just go fuck up that island some more.
Right. But since Purvis isn't here, I'm going to drop an honorary Jesus Christ just for him.
Yeah. We miss you, buddy.
Rest in pepperonis.
Rest in peace. Rip in peace. Any hoozle. So let's move on to something not depressing to talk about. J. Cole, for once. J. Cole dropped 8 unreleased songs. Everyone knew that they were going to be on the vinyl, the 10-year anniversary vinyl for the 2014 Forest Hill Drive. And now that they're available on the website, which means, to me, I feel like that means they are inevitably going to end up on streaming. I think in less than 6 months they'll be on streaming. But
I'm sure.
Yeah, but I think this is sick either way. I do dislike when artists make content behind vinyl because, like, most people don't actually listen to the vinyl, so it's like kind of locked behind it. I like that he's making it available on the website. I like how you can download it if you purchase the vinyl.
Yeah.
And yeah, the entire.
And then if you purchase the vinyl, the digital, or the podcast, you get the link for the live stream of the concert next week.
Yeah, it's next Saturday.
The 16th, I think.
Oh, that's Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Oh shit! I'm not doing anything that night. Anyway, so yeah, I think, and you weren't on last week, so if you have any thoughts on the J. Cole rollout that's been going on, I think it's really cool. I think it's unrealistic for him to expect people to purchase podcast episodes a la carte. However, I respect it because it's work and it deserves to be compensated. It's just not. He's the only podcast I know of that you currently have to pay for to listen to. But then again, if there was ever one, and I think re-releasing all the mixtapes on streaming, it's pretty ambitious. Like, it's really, I don't think that we've ever seen anyone do this. It was a huge deal when Chance got Acid Rap on streaming. Yeah. Which was way further into the mixtape world, way more primed to be in the streaming world. And the first time he did it, he couldn't even clear one of the songs. Yep. For J. Cole to go all the way back. I remember, Jeff, you said it last week.
A lot of speculation is that this is his retirement rollout.
I don't doubt it. Like, we would
a lot of people are saying that The Fall Off is his last album.
I could see it.
And especially with Dreamville Fest announcing that it's their last year.
Yeah. No, I can definitely
saying this is his retirement rollout.
I will say, like, I don't really have strong feelings one way or the other about charging for the podcast. It's like what, $1 an episode?
Yeah, it's like very affordable. So it's like, it's not like those weird like Patreon folks who like hide it behind like $20 or like those scammers. So I think it's like
exactly.
But so no, I think it's like very honest, and I think it's more I think it's very respectable, but it's also probably the reason I haven't listened to it.
Like, so humble.
We're also talking about a guy who sold his concert tickets for a tour for $1.
Yeah.
So humble.
No.
But it reminds me also just the fact that this is happening and it's like a little unprecedented, just like the format. It reminds me of his what's that song, Blow Up, off one of the mixtapes?
Yeah, I love that song.
Told me if I call your hotline and pay $20.99, everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I remember, man. I think that song was like my first impression to J. Cole, like way back when that song came out, and I remember really appreciating it because the line is, "I'm about to blow up." He's like, "I'm not blowing up right now." He's giving himself some time, like. But no, I think the rollout, like having this real intimate podcast with like re-releasing these projects, making them better. Not better, but just more accessible to like the people who are listening now. And Jeff, exactly. How many Kanye samples did one of those have or something like that?
He like throughout them, he has like 6 or 7.
Yeah, he has like 6 or 7 Kanye samples, and I think that's what I mean when I think like it really is like one of the most impressive rollouts I've ever seen. Yeah, but because like getting that stuff cleared in the streaming era is a nightmare, especially now because he openly is hostile to Kanye and was like one of the first people to call him out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
good legal team.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know his whole mindset behind the podcast is to treat it more as like an audiobook.
I don't hate that. Like, I just wish J. Cole read real books, but no. I think
Or wrote one.
I would love if J. Cole wrote a book. You know what? You know what I've always wanted ever since the because when KOD came out, he directed all of his own music videos. I'm like,
Yeah,
he should make a movie. I think J. Cole would be a great director. Like,
I mean, if this is his retirement, who
yeah,
knows what he has planned for post-retirement?
no, I think
You know
like
he's gonna stay creative some way.
he's gonna. I think Dreamville is still gonna exist. Like, there's so many artists who
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, who have like contracts that need to be like I think Jid still has 2 or 3 more albums on his Dreamville contract. Like, so Dreamville will still be around. And the other thing is that like in the creative realm, I take retirement with a grain of salt at all times.
hmm
Like J. Cole, I am like the least hesitant to call bullshit on, but like I do feel like he could very easily just say that and then release another album in 4 or 5 years. And then, because
yeah,
it's like a 2-for-1 marketing deal. Because not only have like the whole like hype for this album as like the retirement, you have already built in the hype for the next album because then it's the return. As opposed to just releasing 2 albums, right? So don't get me wrong, I
yeah.
do not think that is what J. Cole is doing in this specific instance. But I think that's a thing that does happen. But yeah, I'm excited to listen to the songs. Jeff put them in our Discord, so we'll be listening to them probably between now and next week. And
Yeah,
I'm hoping we
yeah,
get
yeah. I
news of the
put the
fall
whole. It's
off.
just the whole album. So it's the last 8 songs that
Hell
are
yeah.
the new ones.
All right, we got a teaser for Lana, which was confusing in several ways because one, it's just SZA pissing, and two, uh, it it's a deluxe of SOS with a different name.
Don't like that. Don't like it.
Yeah, like
Don't.
no,
Bad
because it
precedent.
says SOS deluxe and it
I
calls it
know, but it
Lana.
just doesn't make sense unless this is what she originally wanted SOS to be called.
I don't. I think the thing. I think with SZA, because as we will talk about when we get into this album review, I think SZA's a generational talent, like on the tippiest top tier. So like I'm willing to let her say whatever she wants. I'm willing to just like sit here and like wait until it's on Spotify and I can look at it and then I'll make my decision. And the other thing is that like I think this is way more likely to be an estate sale than Donda Deluxe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's just like a whole second disc that could functionally be its own album if it was released on its own, but it's not.
Sure, you're gonna get a whole bunch of songs in different orders now.
Maybe, but maybe they, maybe don't think we should assume that.
I don't think we should, but I wouldn't doubt it. You're getting a whole new with Lana the Deluxe. It's gonna be like it. I'm sure it's gonna be like a whole new album.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's going to be a whole new thing because it's been like on one end, like this is a really fast turnaround for SZA because it was 5 years between Control and SOS. So 2 years off of Control to release an album's worth of music, whether that's in the form of a deluxe, whether that's functionally its own album, who knows? I'm just excited to see it and listen to it because I loved SOS. I loved Control. I have consistently
Yeah.
loved SZA's output. So she's top
I
of the
do
game.
feel, yeah, I do feel like this is a way for her to wrap up her TDE deal quicker.
Yeah, maybe. And she's a wild card because she could go anywhere.
I think
Griselda
if she
confirmed.
leaves,
Zelda confirmed.
if she
They
leaves,
have
I
R&B
can
singers
see,
and it's good. They're good.
but I could see her and Kendrick kind of
Oh,
partnering up
I
with
could
PG
definitely
Lang.
see her. I definitely see a PG Lang album in her future. I just don't know. I don't think that'll be
No, I'm saying
necessarily
like
a long term.
she joins partnership with him as
Oh,
like owners.
maybe. Maybe.
I think that's her next step.
We've already talked about the tour on the podcast. We talked about the tour last week. It's a huge fact. Like, they've been collabing a lot. So,
Yeah.
this is the second album they have with like multiple collabs, if you count Black Panther. Uh, I'm excited to see like whatever it is she's gonna do. But yeah, I do wonder if this is a way to get out of her deal. I think Endless has kind of put that idea into everyone's mind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited. All right, so I don't know why Purvis put this here. If he's sick, he's not thinking right. Wham! Who hard as me by Lil Baby announced for January 3rd.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm not listening to this.
Yeah, I'm not listening to that.
Neither am I.
This is what it's like. It's like one of those times where I'm like, someone sends me a long text message and just like, I'm not reading all that. Free Palestine. It's like that's just. I
That's
didn't
all
read.
long talks, free Palestine.
Free
That's how you
Palestine.
respond.
I'm not reading all that. Like, it's like you gotta.
Give me the spark notes.
Yeah, give me.
I have a
It's like I read for pleasure. It's like I'll read, motherfucker, if you're worth reading. Most people aren't. Like,
I don't know why this is for me, but like when I think Lil Baby a lot of the time now, just in my mind, it's the energy is the same as like Yellow Wolf. I don't know why. They're totally different. But
I don't.
like
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
I think Yellow Wolf's better.
I mean maybe.
No.
Maybe it's something to do with like the delivery, like the more like quieter tone or something, but just like I don't know. It's
because
just
I
there's
didn't see.
miscommunication.
I didn't see Lil Baby as like a Xeroxed young thug, but like,
Damn.
but at the same way, like, but like, I don't want to like be dismissive. I think Lil Baby has also put out some excellent verses.
Yeah.
I think he had like one of the best singles of 2020. I think there are legitimately great Lil Baby songs. Like there was a minute there where he was the best rapper with Baby in his name. There absolutely was a minute where that was the case. But that was 2-3 years ago now. So we'll see. We'll see how this is. You know, I don't want to.
Best song is Pure Cocaine.
I bet.
I think we all know though his best contribution to the whole game has been, helping Drake get his lingo up.
Yeah.
That was really
Yeah.
the peak.
I agree. All right. So we already talked about this a little bit, but Dreamville announces that the 5th and final Dreamville Fest is this April. It was a little sad. I wish I could have gone to Dreamville Fest once. I'm not going to be able to swing it by April. And yeah, no, I just.
And with it being the last one, I think it's already sold out.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. I'm upset. I just hope nothing happens to Dreamville. Right. I think Dreamville is a important institution in hip hop right now. I wish Purvis was here to hear this say. I think maybe more important than J. Cole. Like,
Agreed.
Just because I think they're really holding it down. They're always signing like cool, exciting artists. I know the deals aren't always great. Shout out Ari Lennox. I hope you get whatever you want. But like, I still think having a place for that sound that is very Southern, but not Atlanta, I think is good. And I think having someone like J. Cole be like a stalwart of it is good. And last news item, and then this will butterfly very nicely into the review. TDD announces the 11th annual TDE Christmas concert and toy drive this weekend.
No, it's actually today. It's the 12th, as we're recording.
I thought it was the 14th.
No, it was today.
Oh. Well, they're recording. They're doing it right now. This was cool.
Yeah, literally right now, because it all started at 2. So, yeah.
I definitely thought it was the 14th, but I think I might have been getting it mixed up because...
Yeah, I have Top Dogs. I have TDE's IG pulled up.
Yeah.
It's at Nickerson Gardens.
You got Top on the phone?
Hey, I wish.
God. But yeah.
But it's a stacked. I mean, it's all TDE,
it's all the TDE
and
artists.
it's pretty much a free show. You just got to bring in unwrapped new toy, and you get to see them.
Yeah, it's once again, it's an awesome thing to do for the
First
community in Compton. Would have been an incredible lineup to artists to see for $200, let alone free. Like,
I mean, you're seeing SZA, Schoolboy Q, Kendrick, J-Rock, Isaiah Rashad, Doechii, Absol,
yeah,
Sir, Zakari. Ravon plus whoever else they bring out.
I'll make that deal.
Yeah, I make that deal. I bring a Transformer for that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're in LA, I would take
So
this
cheap,
day
bring
off
Hot
every
Wheels.
year. Yeah. I want them to get a nice toy. Well, Hot Wheels are nice.
Hot Wheels are,
Yeah. So I think like my main thing was I was wondering because when this album dropped, which we have not had an extended conversation about the album. So I'm very excited just to hear people's thoughts, break it down. I'm excited for this.
And we'll be at the tour.
And we will be at the tour. Yes, we will be.
Which was expensive as all fuck.
Yeah, dude. What the hell?
Dude, not happy about it, honestly. I mean,
Yeah,
if there was an
either.
artist I was going to do it for, it was going to be Kendrick Lamar. And I'm going to keep it real with you guys. It was still a good 40% cheaper than what I paid for Beyonce.
Which is wild.
Yeah. And this is two artists. These are two artists that could fill Soldier Field up by themselves. Right?
Yeah.
So it's wild. I still think it is obscene how expensive these tickets are. And
it's wild.
Fucking dollars too on top of this.
Yeah, I know, but I don't park.
Valid.
I'm going to take the red line in, go to Harold's before, and walk across Grant Park.
Valid.
Yeah, like that's what I do. And I think right now we just wait to see who they get as openers. I think that's still an announcement that's going to come. And yeah, no.
And of course, you're going to have probably
DJ
Mustard.
It's not announced. It's not announced, but I would be shocked if that didn't happen. If DJ Mustard is not the DJ for this.
For these prices,
yeah, that's got to be the DJ.
Yeah,
for these prices, he better fucking bring Shireen out.
Yeah, you better bring up. Yeah, there better be fucking. He better.
My mindset is.
He better kill Drake there.
I think if Baby Keem announces an album, you're gonna see him thrown.
Yeah.
On.
They need to burn an album. I'm sorry.
I think Duty 6 is another one that can possibly be on there. And who's the other one? I think Lefty Gun. I think that's another one.
I think all the guys that are on GNX are guaranteed to be there.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them
guaranteed.
I will. I'll say all. I think pretty.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would go
That's
so.
Just me. I wouldn't go that far.
I would say all the guys, all the local guys in LA, like because there are no big. The biggest name feature on this project is SZA, who's going to be there.
And you got Roddy Ricch.
Roddy Ricch, yeah, but there's a huge gap between, Roddy Ricch and then like probably Letty Gunplay is probably the next most famous, and there's
Lefty Gunplay,
yeah, and like don't get me wrong, I want to see all them there. I definitely think they're gonna have like, for lack of a better term, like named openers. Like when you said Doechii, I'm like, I think Doechii is like kind of perfect. I think Baby Keem is like.
I think they're gonna have Doechii on her own tour. If she's putting out her first studio album, I think they're gonna put her on her own tour.
Listen, I'm okay with, like, as a fan of Doechii, I think that's a good thing. But I think right now, I don't know. First off, the fact that she's like legally not allowed to comment on if she's going to be opening for the tour, I think is a huge sign that she probably will be. And yeah,
I also think that's partially because they might be in the works of putting her tour together.
Yeah, that might be. But, and the other thing is that, like, this is she just got off tour though. She just did her own tour this year. She goes
on the festival, like, but what if she does the festivals?
Yeah, but stand on business. Don't change the goalposts. Like, sure, she could do this, she could do that, but like, what would you do if you were an artist in her position? Would you do that, or would you open for Kendrick Lamar?
I have a theory.
Go ahead.
How the Creator is going to open for Kendrick?
I don't think so. He's going to be he literally has he literally has dates that day.
It's a month later. He does not have dates that day. I just checked. He's in Europe up until May 30th, and then there's a gap until June 27th. So this is June 6th, a Friday.
Yeah.
Totally possible. And also, Camp Flog Gnaw is a thing. The Hillbillies, and also with the praise that's been going back and forth with Tyler's new album. Who knows? The whole like West
Yeah.
Coast thing. It's possible.
I would love that. I would love that. I think that is not. I do not think that is possible. First off, there's a lot of usually like touring stipulations, like when you're on a major tour, like what Tyler is on. Like that's the reason why he couldn't also be at Summer Smash or Lollapalooza because of those tour stipulations. But like they could just have him show up and do like a song. I just
One person who I do think might is either Absol or Schoolboy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absol for sure.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see that for sure. Because like I think Schoolboy is actually in the same position. I mean, not in their career, but I think just in terms of like touring schedule, I think Schoolboy's in a very similar position as Doechii because they just got off a significantly smaller tour.
Yeah.
And he has dates all the way for January.
Yeah.
22nd, 24th, 25th, 26th. Then he's over in Germany in February.
Yeah.
And a couple over in Paris, England, Thailand, or Netherlands.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think that's impossible.
After February 20th, he's open.
Yeah. All right, but now
I also could see, I don't know, TDA is a one that you can't really.
Yeah, because they're so stacked,
what
right?
they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Exactly, because like if Schoolboy's done after February, I could see him and Doechii doing something together because TDE usually keeps their artists together.
Yeah, they do. And we have to remember this isn't a TDE tour.
It is. It's a TDE and PG Lang.
Oh, okay.
It's co-sponsored.
Interesting.
Interesting. Because everywhere I see is PG Lang.
Yeah, when they first announced it, it had TDE and PG Lang.
Yeah. All right, now let's drive straight into the album. About a month ago, I know, right? That was clever. I think I deserve a round of applause for that. Anyway,
you're taking the puns right out of my mouth today.
I know. I'm hoping your car knowledge helps with the whole album.
Yeah.
So about a month ago, we got a surprise Kendrick Lamar album, GNX. Needless to say, it caused quite the commotion, and I think it's fair to say that it's a Jasper. I actually have no idea what you think about the album. So, do we just want to go round robin, like general high level thoughts?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Cool. Jasper, you start, because I have no idea what you think about this album. You played it very close to the chest.
I think this album is pretty good. It's definitely not my favorite. It's got a lot of really good features. It's got a lot of really good instrumentation, a lot of great beat making and production. I think the entire vibe that I get from it is very rushed in a way that no other Kendrick work feels to me. So it's been hard for me to kind of contextualize it in the rest of his discography.
That's interesting.
In order to listen to this,
I understand that.
Yeah, I don't agree, but I do understand it. I do completely see where you're coming from.
Because I could hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me give you my context. So my context is there are two Kendrick albums that I keep the full album in rotation, and that is Damn, primarily as one, and the other being Good Kid, Mad City Deluxe, just like the full Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
Same.
I visit to Pimp a Butterfly probably twice a year just to like do the thing. And then I've only listened to of the other albums that I actually actively listened to, I've only listened to Mr. Morale through probably about 6 times.
Mr. Morale is
probably like 3, 4.
Yeah, Mr. Morale, I feel about Mr. Morale the way most people feel about To Pimp a Butterfly. I think it's incredible. Yeah. I think it does like a lot of very interesting things. It does a lot of really good things with the format, but it is just a slog. Like, it is a slog, and it is also has some of Kendrick's worst songs, and also he's very in your face. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, that last couple tracks are just soul wrenching.
you get to we cry together, and it's like, all right, I'm sad now. This isn't fun anymore.
Right. No,
Um,
exactly. It's like all I want in the whole world, in the whole wide world, is I just want a song with The Alchemist and Kendrick
yeah,
Lamar that's fun to
yeah.
listen to. Because so far we've
Fact.
gotten We Cry Together and Meet the Grams. And neither of those songs, gentlemen, are fun
Yes.
to listen to. Like,
Yeah. So the two songs that made it into my rotation from that album are literally just Rich Spirit and N95, and that's it.
yeah. You don't like
Basically,
Savior?
it doesn't scratch the itch for me personally. Like I listen to it, but it's not like one I want to go back to actively. So coming out of Mr. Morale, which feels so intensely choreographed and so focused for, and even though it does have a long runtime, and even though it is a bit of a slog, it doesn't lose its focus. It doesn't become derivative of itself. It has something to say every step of the way, all the way until the Heart Part 5, and then past that. Um, this album, by comparison, it feels, and maybe this is very very orchestrated. Maybe he's architecting sort of an energy here, but it has a feeling of being a little bit all over the place. There's feelings that are present here that do not come from the same place of thoughtfulness that things on in like the presentation of Mr. Morale. They just it feels like it's coming from a fundamentally different place and a different range of emotions, which is why to me it feels very scatterbrained compared to something that is so meticulous. So
Yeah, nothing.
I
Yeah,
think
this is
yeah,
all very.
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
I'm
really
fun with
good
this.
tracks, a lot of good energy across the project. But yeah, it feels like he sat down and was like, I am feeling my feelings today, and people are going to know about it, which is just a very different Kendrick than what I'm used to personally. So
That's
yeah, I
fair.
think
Yeah,
it's as a project.
to back off of that, I kind of feel
Because you've listened to
like
the
I've
album
listened
and
to
have
this.
seen them out.
I'm over 10 hours into this album, listening completely through and through. Uh, I feel like some of the songs you can tell were like there's a gap between recording these songs,
Yes,
big
Yeah.
time.
totally.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like some of these songs were recorded after Not Like Us, and then some were recorded like a month or two later,
Yeah,
and
Squabble
then
Yeah.
great example.
more right after that. Like
Yeah,
there's a big gap in between, I feel.
Yeah, I just feel like that's a normal part of the album making process.
Yeah, but like this, you can his feelings and emotions, you can tell the
like
gap,
fluctuate.
like there's that
Yeah.
gap
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah, I think that's
Because
fair.
like for a couple of the songs, you feel those emotions and that rage, not so much rage, but those emotions coming out of Not Like Us, and still wanting to beef with Drake. And
Yeah.
then you get some other songs where it's like he actually wants to put an album out, not just a diss track or something like that.
I think I'm
If that
having
makes
trouble
sense.
I'm having trouble following. But I do kind of understand like the feeling of it kind of being, I don't know, cuz I think this is an incredibly focused album. I'll put my 2 cents up top. I think this is the best album he's put out since To Pimp a Butterfly. Uh my first reaction to this is I thought this was a better Damn than Damn.
really.
Yeah, cuz like
Really.
yeah, cuz like okay, and like when I talk about Damn, like we all have to zoom in for a second because we're talking about,
Let's do it.
the difference between like an A plus and an A. Like when
True.
I say like
Sure.
when I say like, oh, I think Damn is, maybe I don't like Damn nearly as much as like Good Kid, Mad City or To Pimp a Butterfly. I think I might like it more than Mr. Morale, but only a little bit. Uh,
Mhm.
we're talking about the difference between an A plus and an A minus. It's not a huge difference, and it's it's just that I think Damn just gets a little too like commercialized. It gets a little bit too.
It's poppier.
It's much poppier, and like I think if you put it in the context of Kendrick's career, I think it makes total sense where he's like oh, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna like kind of plant my flag on these really popular sounds and kind
Yeah.
of take them for myself. Like, I think that's
Yeah.
cool, but like that necessitates that like Kendrick is like following sounds and everything, and it's like that's not really what I've always appreciated about Kendrick. I also think some of the perspectives on Damn uh, don't really speak as strongly as even some stuff on like Mr. Morale or To Pimp a Butterfly. I think I don't think it's Fear, but it's the album where he starts talking about like the Israelites and like the idea that like maybe black people are just damned to be like this, and it's like that doesn't sound very To Pimp a Butterfly of you.
The voicemail from his cousin. the
Yeah,
whole thing.
exactly. So, but to me, I feel like this
So
is a
why God,
very.
why-
Say that again.
I was just saying, like the part where it's like, why God, do I have to suffer? That's how that track opens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, I think this is the best album since The Pimp a Butterfly. I think it's incredibly focused. I do see what you mean by it being rushed. Because to me, I do think there's like a very intense sense of like momentum and direction, and it's very meticulously focused. And I don't, to me, like it always made sense. It always read very well. Like I never viewed it as rushed. I saw it as focused. But like I can't sit here and hear you call it that and then not kind of nod my head a little bit. You know what I mean? Right. I can't like not say that doesn't make sense. And like I do have some takes on this album. There are some songs that have gotten very popular that I think might be some of the weaker songs Kendrick has made.
100% agree. 100%.
But then again, like I don't think I think some of the best songs Kendrick has ever made are on this project. I think, and I also think like, and you're more of a car guy than me, but I also think like that inertia, that momentum, I think that is kind of in the name. The GNX was like the best straightaway car of all time.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, at the time it was released.
Yeah, it was one of the fastest cars at the time.
It was the fastest straightaway car, right? If you weren't making any turns, if you were going one direction, it was the fastest car. It was also only manufactured.
Ferrari.
Yeah. It was only manufactured the year Kendrick was born, and it only came in black. So I think
he was driven home from the hospital in one.
I know
His dad had one.
Yeah. So I think like it is that momentum, that like that kind of just being able to lock in and like go for it, I think is like the point of the album. I think a lot of people are struggling, and there's like one thing I really want to get off my chest about this, and not with you two, but with Purvis a little bit. He's not here. But I think some of the reception to this album has annoyed me. I think the idea that this is like a mixtape or something really gets under my skin.
It's not.
I can see why people think it. I mean, I think people saying it because the Heart song is on here.
Yeah, I think that's...
we usually get that before an album. I think that's stupid, but...
Yeah, because like the Heart...
With it just being dropped spontaneously and just like
and the Heart
rushed.
And the Heart has been coming out closer and closer to the release of the album throughout Kendrick's entire career. The Heart Part 3 dropped like a year...
last one.
Yeah, like the Heart Part 3 came out like a year before Good Kid, Mad City. The Heart or To Pimp a Butterfly, because they had released I like 6 months early. The Heart Part 4 before Damn was like a month, which was still long. The Heart Part 5 wound up on the album. You're right. I do think that counts, even though it wasn't on at release. I do think that counts. And it came out like a week before, right? Like there was no way for the Heart Part 6 to be on this album and for him to do a surprise drop in any capacity, unless he released it as a single at the exact same time as the album, which just sounds weird. It doesn't make sense to me. Now that being said, and I also like, I just have like recoil from the Damnation fan theories. Like when Damn came out, everyone thought there was going to be some second album. and there just never was. And I always thought it was stupid. I always thought it was very, very stupid. But I do think Kendrick is seeding other things. Like there are like clues in the music videos and everything. I don't necessarily think the idea that something else could be coming. Apparently people have cracked it and they say there's going to be some huge announcement on the 14th. Which is the day of the Compton
December?
Yes. It's the day of the Compton Christmas parade. Like apparently in like one of the like in because the Compton Christmas parade sign is in the Squabble Up video. I think earlier in the video there's like an anagram where it like unjumbles to be like, something is coming December 14th. That comes out. And then there's the whole thing where like the teaser that he put out before the album had a song that wasn't on the album. So I think the idea is that like another album could be coming isn't silly. I think they could be. I wouldn't get my hopes up.
Yeah.
But
and from all the interviews and everything, I'm hearing people that like have sources close to Kendrick. They're saying like this is where he's at in his career right now. Like this is the style and this is like the shit he's on right now. And if he's like on this, if it's like his Tupac era almost, I think we're gonna see a lot dropped from Kendrick. Like
I think that's possible. I
wouldn't be shocked if we get 3 albums dropped in a year.
I don't think that's crazy. Like, yeah, no, and I do kind of love that this whole album is kind of a love letter to the West Coast hip hop album. Obviously, there's a ton of references to Tupac specifically, but like, I don't know. I've always had a
Not even just him. There's reference to so many other people.
But like, what was I getting at? I've always had like this grand theory about Kendrick's albums that all of the albums represent like they take their structure from other mediums, right? So like Section 80 is a book because all the interludes are like chapter 4, chapter 10, like you have in a book. Good Kid, Mad City, on the cover it says a short film by Kendrick Lamar. It's a film. Typical Butterfly is a book of poetry. There's a poem. Damn is a magazine because it's ultra sensationalist and it can be read backwards or forwards. That's why all the titles are in all caps. And Mr. Morale is a stage play. They have an intermission. It's a double album. There's a lot of like the echoes of like a theater in it. And I kind of like the idea that GNX is like the album, right? Like it's the same way those all have a relationship to like another piece of media. This is like a love letter to like hip hop albums. And
it's
that
a soundtrack for
yeah. So this is probably my favorite part of it. Is that it feels like his love letter to hip hop albums as a piece of art. The same way some people love movies, some people love paintings. This is a hip hop album. And yeah, so do we want to start talking through the tracks itself?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with Whacked Out Murals, which certainly got
Every
a lot
time
of
I hear this song, I think we're gonna be going to do a drive-by.
Dude, yeah, this song is wild. I think the vocal introduction by the Spanish singer that he has on it is nuts. But yeah, no, this song is insane. Obviously, it drummed up a lot of drama, talking about Lil Wayne, letting Lil Wayne down. Do we want to give our thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. So from what I was hearing in interviews, so people that are like close to Kendrick's circle heard that Wayne was ready to retaliate and like put a song out, but told him like, hey, this doesn't mean anything. Like this is
I did
just
not.
him just saying, hey, he's upset at how everything turned out. He's worked hard for this. And he thought you'd be proud of him, but he was wrong.
Yeah. No, and first off, like, this has put a whole bad taste in my mouth about Lil Wayne because it's like, if you can't give flowers to Kendrick, like, what is going on? Right.
How long will it take? Sorry,
right. I also
Also,
wonder if this is like a subtle jab at J. Cole. Because
Totally.
from what I've heard, yes.
yeah, because he has like
Yes.
the I let Lil Wayne down and then immediately talks about Nas, let Nas down, the J. Cole song.
Yep.
And he also calls out
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, who was just like, I pray it was the edibles. And
Snoop Dogg responded saying yes,
I love how
it
Snoop Dogg
was.
does not take himself seriously at all. Snoop Dogg is
Yeah.
aware that he's a cartoon grandpa from Compton and is just rolling with that.
Yeah.
Caricature.
But yeah, no, I think this is an incredible start to the album. I'll be real with you. Like, there's a ton of songs I go to and I just listen to, like, a la carte from this album. This is not one of them, but I think this is just an incredible start. And also, just album wide, something I want to point out. I am shocked at how all over this album Jack Antonoff is.
Yeah.
Because usually when I see Jack Antonoff on an album, it's usually a female pop star and it usually sounds bad. It's
Well,
usually
you know why he's doing that is because of Drake.
I had no idea. Well, he did produce 616 in
Well,
LA.
because he did say, something about Taylor Swift's producer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He
Kendrick,
did?
sure enough, went and got Taylor Swift's producer.
Yeah. And I know he produced 616 in LA, that diss track that was only on
Mhm.
Instagram. So, honestly, I'm all for it. Like, whatever he contributed to this, I don't think there's a single creative on this that I don't want back.
No.
But I think it's time to talk about the big hit from the album, Squabble Up. We've already got a video for it. It was teased and Not Like Us. This song is fucking incredible. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of those.
The sample, Debbie Deb.
The Debbie
I
Deb
hear the
sample
music.
is insane. The Kamasi Washington shout out, who's on the next song on the album. It's nuts. It's so old school LA. Like, this is the song that to me feels like a tribute to West Coast hip hop in general and less about any specific artist.
Yeah, and you hear this song and you just want to dance.
Yeah, no, I mean, the music
You
video
just
captured
wanna
it
dance.
perfect. Like, this was made for like dancing and West Coast dancing. Yes, Jasper.
Like everyone's gonna be moving the same way.
Yeah.
Isn't the beginning of this song all the song titles that are allegedly like Drake ripped from him or something? Like aesthetically or musically? Wasn't that like a whole thing?
I don't know.
With the
That's
release?
not something I've heard.
I don't remember.
I'll
I
look
don't know.
into it.
I could have sworn there was a dig at Drake with the beginning of it being featured on the Not Like Us video, because it's like something about Drake's song titles that are like songs where the production is like ripped from something Kendrick did or something he stole from somebody else.
Interesting. I'm not sure
I don't know.
because I know it's like hot key.
I'm not
that
sure.
Horn, I mean, see. Oh my
Yeah.
god. And then, but yeah, I think this was also the obvious single from this should have been Squabble Up, and it was. It's the number one song in the country right now.
How many fighters do you think is gonna come out to this song?
So
Or how
many.
many fight scenes in movies are you gonna hear this song to?
I have a better question. How many cars with hydraulics do you think are going to be at Soldier Field for this song?
Yes.
Well, joke's on you because Soldier Field doesn't have public parking.
I meant like on the stage.
Oh, facts.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like. All right.
See, they screwed up. They screwed up not doing a midfield. If they're going to all these football stadiums, they screwed up not having a center midfield stage. Because if you did that, you could have had 72,000 plus in Soldier Field.
That's how Ed Sheeran beat the record. Like, that was literally
that's
the
how Ed
only
Sheeran
way
did
he
it.
beat. Yeah.
You could have sold out the whole thing, and if you did something similar to the pop up, I think it would have been
Nuts.
a better experience.
Yeah.
But
we'll see. We haven't seen it
we
yet.
haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
Logistically, it's really
But just
challenging.
having-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with a show that I'm willing to bet is going to be pretty high scale and high spectacle.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, definitely.
Like, I think this is in some ways like a crowd pleasing showing off album. And I think it
Totally.
makes, like, I'm very happy this is the one before the stadium tour and not Mr. Morale. As much as I did really like that album. Once again, we're talking about the difference between A+ and A- here. but like this is, I think, way more fitted for that format.
Yeah,
Uh,
didn't
The
Mr.
whole soft loop is going to hear everyone scream pedophile.
yeah.
Yeah,
What were you saying,
yeah.
Jasper?
Didn't Mr. Morale have a stadium tour though? I thought it did.
Yes, he did the
Yeah.
United Center. It was definitely like a major tour.
Yeah, I know Purvis was there. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure he has merch or something.
yeah.
Uh, but also, yeah, this album is like a victory lap. That's I think the way I would think about it also, where it's like
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
feels a little less. One more thing about just like the comparison to other projects, it feels a little less substance heavy in the context of like the things he would normally talk about because it's of its positioning of like where he is in pop culture right now. That's like my
100%. And yeah, I think that is completely on the money. And I think, I think like Kendrick definitely gets quite a few conceptual songs in here that I
true.
think
Yeah,
still, but no, I do think like as a total package, like, yeah, you're right. It's not a meditation on the human condition the same,
no,
like the same way
yeah,
that, and I think that's might be the reason why I think this is a better Damn, because I think
yeah,
Damn was trying to be this and To Pimp a Butterfly. And don't get me wrong, Damn's great. I love Damn,
yeah.
but like I think this is just a hair more successful, you know. Uh and I also think that I think he pulls off a diversity of sounds here. Uh
He, he does.
Maybe better than any album besides To Pimp a Butterfly. And I want to hit Luther, the first song, which is a third track on the album. This has to be one of my favorite Kendrick songs ever.
It's
I'm
really
a
beautiful.
sucker for R&B.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good R&B hip hop crossover. And with the combination of like is it a Luther Vandross sample? Luther
Yeah,
Vandross, SZA,
yeah.
and Kendrick Lamar, Kamasi Washington providing horns. This is not just one of my favorite songs on the album. One of my favorite songs Kendrick has ever done.
It's so good.
Yeah, this song has been playing through my apartment ever since the album dropped. It is, I think, and I think like a perfect representation that like not everything that isn't a hugely conceptual, hugely substantive thing is inferior. Right? I love something to chew on. I love something to think about because I'm crazy. But like, I think there is space in the culture and in the genre for something that is well constructed, well crafted, but is just a love song.
Totally, yeah, and that exists outside of the genre of love song too. I think that's like we've talked about it back and forth for a long time, but I think that's some of the appeal of some of the more mainstream artists out there who are kind of like who kind of ride that. I think Travis is like the greatest example where it's like just because it's ear candy and it's popular, but it doesn't have to necessarily be deep or of like consequence from like a story driven standpoint in order to for people to find value or meaning in it.
I think the problem I have with Travis is I don't think it is as crafted as this song, right?
This song specifically, sure. Yeah.
Or a lot of songs that I think kind of play in this thing. Like I think that's my issue with Travis is that I think like he lacks craft in a lot of it, not necessarily production. I think those songs
Yeah.
are produced. They're like looking at like a fucking like a stop like an old school stopwatch. They're produced excellent, but like like I do think there's a difference between having a song that is very general and meant to be pleasing but
Yeah.
still has like cohesion and lyrical not substance. Substance is the wrong word, but like lyrical like composition. That's probably the best
Fidelity.
word. Whereas like
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like Travis is just mumbling the shit he came into the studio to mumble. And like
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
and like that's not every song. Some songs he does have something to say, and I think those songs are better. Like
Yeah, there's definitely like a subgenre divide there too. I just mean in terms of like, the fact that Kendrick can lean so hard into aesthetic with this
yeah.
in a way that I don't think he necessarily has in the past. And if he has, it's been very early on in his career, I would think. Like, I don't think aesthetic carries pretty much anything else. I think the only time in which it like really takes the forefront is setting the stage for Good Kid, Mad City. because
Yeah.
that album is very much about putting you in a state of mind, in a place, in a time, and
Yeah.
nothing else in discography I think does that to the same extent at all.
I think that's fair. But yeah, do we want to move on to Man at the Garden? I think one of the more conceptual songs from this album. And I gotta be honest, I think it is good, not great. I think there is a
I agree.
I think like it's
I
good.
think it's
Like
a
once
little too
again,
long.
huh?
I think it's a little too long.
Yeah, it is a little too long. It's not a super long song, but I agree. I think it feels a little.
340 or 353.
Yeah, it's a
I
little
think
bit
this could have
long.
been closer to like the 3 minute marker. I think.
Yeah, and don't
Uh,
get me wrong. I think it's a Kendrick song. I think it's fucking incredible, and I do think this is where he draws into like. There's a lot of. And we'll talk about another one very soon, but there's
I
a
feel
lot of
like this
songs
is
where
his victory lap over Drake. Like he's saying he deserves everything. Every win, everything he deserves it all.
that's a pretty rock solid argument. Uh,
Like
I think the
like
next song is his victory lap over Drake.
Hey,
it's,
now say
Hey, now saying that where he's like the black. No, I just strangled me a goat. Like, who do you think he's talking about? Like,
yeah, 100%.
it's actually the
these two
only
songs kind of go more together. I'd
they
say.
they actually totally do when you think about it because like they both have like I call it Hey Now and Man at the Garden specifically. They have like a vibe that I can only describe as like To Pimp a Butterfly Yeezus, right? If someone
Yeah, it's like
it's like
malicious in a way.
it's like if someone
Yeah.
yeah right it's still very West Coast, still totally fits within like the vibe of the album, the vibe of everything he's been doing, but it's like dark and like not industrial, that might be the wrong term, but like it's like dark and grimy and like sinister. And yeah, I do think they're sonically, I think those two songs are connected for sure. I think Peekaboo also has that same vibe.
I think I know the term you're looking for this, at least for like, especially for Hey Now, because that's one of the ones I've spent much more time with. That's one of the two songs from this album that made it into my likes for like rotation. But Hey Now, just like a lot of Yeezus and a lot of even some of the later Kanye also, it has a lot of negative space. You
Yeah.
don't get you don't get wall of sound. You don't get this like sweeping backing track. You get like these sharper, shorter, more like punctuated sounds that make up a beat, but there's definitely drop off there between. So that like kind of the background
Yeah.
is just like it becomes very clear when nothing is happening versus when things are. And that definitely gives like that industrial sound. It's like machinery in a factory working where it's like it's either silent or it's on. There's no like middle ground.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And just moving over to Hey Now, there's a lot of songs I really like on this project. This is one of the highlights for me. I fucking love the bars on this. I love the feature. I love the trading off in the third verse. Yeah, no, I think
Duty 6 has a great verse.
Duty 6 has a great contribution to it. Yeah, I love the beat. I have nothing else I could say about it. I don't think it's a particularly deep song, but it does to me this is the one where it feels like he's doing his victory lap against Drake. This is I think the only like direct like unequivocal reference to the beef is in this song. Because like Man at the Garden, like yeah, he's saying he deserves it all, but he could be talking about the accolades he receives from like his albums. He could be talking about like the touring money. He could be talking about his family. He could be talking about a lot of things. Yeah, I think it totally fits with the narrative of the beef. So I will not counter argue that. But I think like when he says like, "Oh, I strangled me a goat," I think that's unambiguously about him and Drake's beef. So yeah, I think a song where there's a lot to talk about is the next one, Reincarnated.
More or less the next two.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about TV off when we get to it.
But yeah, no, this is
Reincarnated, I
opening
think,
up
is
the Spanish Open,
incredible.
going right into the Tupac
the Tupac
sample,
yeah.
the made N-word
Yeah.
sample, just so good.
Perfect.
Like,
Perfect addition that just the
and for
definition
him
of art.
to go into the Tupac cadence and try and sound and rap like Tupac
Yeah. Yeah, it's
just
like
fit perfectly. Like you merge, and he even took some lyrics from the original song and implemented them into the song. And when you merge them together and like mash them up, it just sounds and fits so perfect.
okay. First off, totally agree. I think this is one of the most impressive feats of songwriting he has ever done. However, and I want Jeff to answer this first because he's probably the most familiar. Well, Jasper's really familiar with Tupac too. But like
Yes.
I think some people have said that the only reason Kendrick can get away with this is because he's as skilled as he is, and this is maybe too close to a Tupac impression. Uh, like to me, I see this as like a homage to Tupac because Tupac never wrote a song about reincarnation from the first person perspective and everything. I think there's enough that he's bringing to it, but I think some people, like some of the reactions I've seen, is that it's a little bit too close to like a Tupac impression, and I want to know what everyone here thinks because I don't think that's true. I think this is pyramids in 4.5 minutes. It's insane. Like,
I would say that it's when you're rapping over a Tupac beat, you can't help but not do a Tupac impression.
right, and it's like I never understood the argument that like, oh, he's just so skilled he gets away with it. It's like that's what art is. Like
Yeah,
that's why you want to be more skilled as opposed to less because then you can get away with it. Like to bring in a completely random creative who I'm really into right now, Anthony Jeselnik. Like he has this he has an interview he did where he quotes Andy Warhol and he's like art is getting away with it. And it's like, people are so and he uses it in the context of comedy and like offensive comedy specifically. And he's like the thing is like if someone's offended by your joke, you weren't funny enough. Right? Like you weren't funny enough because they should be laughing. And, the same way that like Andy Warhol would say that like his use of color was so striking that people didn't realize he was just printing an ad. I think it's the same thing with this, right? Like, yeah, if a less skilled rapper did this, people would say it was a Tupac impression. But because Kendrick is maybe the best rapper of all time, he gets to.
yeah.
But even me, someone who's not as familiar with Tupac, I picked up that this was a Made Buddies song. The Made Buddies beat flipped right away. And to me, I think it just kind of really hit me off guard because when I heard that beat hit and I knew what Kendrick was going to do, I didn't think he was going to go so conceptual, so like, I'm going to give you a first person perspective of 3 different people who lived, and including myself,
Exactly.
in a way that's not
And
overwhelming or pretentious.
what blows my mind is so many people thought it was the sample to hit him up.
I hate
And
that.
if he did that, I hate that, but if he did a sample to hit him up and it was a Drake diss, that would have been
nuts.
stake in Drake's heart. Spirit of Drake, go bye-bye.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would have actually been disrespectful. But like I think this
That's
is
what I'm
not.
saying. Like it would have been so disrespectful.
To Tupac or Drake?
I mean to Tupac. I think it would have been disrespectful.
Oh no, I think he would have. I don't think it would have been that disrespectful. But
I think in the
such a
context,
disrespectful song.
I think in the context of this specific beef, I think if he would have done when Drake dropped Taylor Made and was literally using AI Tupac, if Kendrick responded, I think that opened it up to like you can use whatever you want, right?
That's fair.
However, I think in a vacuum, I don't necessarily disagree with what Jasper is saying.
I think that also.
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
I think that Kendrick is can hold himself to a higher standard than Drake ever would with something like that.
for sure. And I think, yeah,
I don't think that Kendrick would need to invoke like the legacy of one of his idols like that in order to make his point and to destroy Drake anyway.
No, yeah,
So it would feel unnecessary. It would
yeah,
feel it would be gratuitous.
and looking back on the beef, like it would have been because he was able to do it all by
Mhm.
himself, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Reincarnated is like one of just like the most jaw-dropping examples of songwriting I've seen in a long, long time. But next, let's get to
Yes.
TV Off. Guys, I don't like this song as much as everyone else.
I don't really like this song at all, honestly.
To me, this sounds like someone was like, okay, let's do Not Like Us again. That
Yeah.
we can, let's do a Not Like Us that we don't have to reference Drake at all. And
Yep.
Not Like Us
I like the song.
I like the song.
I
Don't
think
get me
it's
wrong. I
fun.
like it. Letty Gunplay is inclusion. I like Mustard in general. I hate the loud the thing you played. I hate that.
I have it.
When he just screams Mustard.
You hate this?
Yes, I hate that actually, and I hate that you're doing it right now. I yell at Jasper. I'm gonna yell at you. Like,
So yeah, I have a take about this.
Yeah.
This whole thing. This is one of the things about the album that rubs me the wrong way, and we haven't talked about it yet. I really dislike Vocal Tick Kendrick, and like Vocal Tick Kendrick comes out more in this album than any other. It's giving top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, and he does it later with other stuff. And there's like other people who do like
you
the
leave that autistic man alone.
hey, that vocal tick shit. I don't know. I don't mess with it. I think it really takes away from like what he cultivates in like everything being very poised, regardless of what else there is. It just feels like at that point it's like, all right, I've made my point, now I'm gonna fuck around a little bit. And also with that, like this song, I don't know, maybe I like there's some Mustard songs I really like, but like so a lot of the stuff that's been coming out more recently,
Hey Now
I don't.
was a Mustard beat.
Yeah, no, and I like that a lot. I just mean like I think back to like some of the earlier like
Oh,
maybe
like Rack
2010.
City.
Yeah, like stuff like just just more gratuitous fun in a different way, like a different context with different artists. Um, I don't know, just like this, and I haven't really said anything about it. I don't love the beat for Not Like Us. Like it's fine. I don't think it's like that exciting. I actually prefer Euphoria as a song and as a piece of production to that. I think Soundwave captures like a better overall kind of aesthetic for Kendrick to be on in that moment in that sense. I think Kendrick has better delivery and better verses that really get to Drake on Not Like Us, and I still think it's like one of the records of the year because of that. But for me, this style of like the horns and everything else going on that like Mustard employs, it just doesn't do it for me. And this song, I think, is just a weaker, more watered down version of Not Like Us.
Okay, so like I disagree. I think the beat for Not Like Us is incredible, but I agree with that. Like I totally think this is just sanitized, watered down Not Like Us, and
Yeah.
they wanted a Not Like Us without Drake, and I think
I
like
think
I
that we're gonna
think
get
Drake.
this over Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. We'll
I
get
don't.
this, but we won't get Not Like Us.
I think we'll get Not Like Us. I think that song
I,
because this song has not done anywhere near the numbers Not Like Us did. Squabble
yeah,
Up
but
has.
with the lawsuit, I think the NFL is going to step in and have say.
That
I think he's just
lawsuit,
gonna
that lawsuit, the second if that lawsuit gets in front of a judge, it will be turned down
yeah.
in 30 seconds.
Yeah, but
And chances are it will
gets
be.
in front of but until it gets put in front of a judge, the
I gotta
NFL
be
is gonna
honest with
have
you.
that.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm not a lawyer, but like I've read enough books about being a lawyer to. I think most lawyers would tell Kendrick to go for it because the defamation
But
lawsuit.
it's the NFL.
I don't care.
It's the
Like
NFL.
I don't care.
You
Like
don't care, but the NFL. But
no, you're not letting me finish.
the
Though.
NFL will have say.
Yeah, but you're not letting me finish. My point being is that like the lawsuit is like a very clear like like abridgment of freedom of speech, and there's just no getting around that. Right? It is like it's
Yeah.
very clearly a lawsuit made by someone who's not familiar with American laws because he's Canadian. So I actually don't think like I actually disagree with you. I don't think the NFL will do that because I think the NFL is going to have a halfway decent lawyer who would be able to pull this apart. So no, I actually don't think the NFL is going to step up.
I don't think it's going to be either one of those things. I think it's going to go ahead because the NFL as an organization, I think has shifted a lot in the last like 5 or 6 years on a lot of things. I think their stances on things that bring money and attention to the spectacle that is football is really shifting. Like the stance on sports betting has shifted a lot. You see, there's less scrutiny around a lot of these things. I think they're going to try and use that to their advantage. And I think Kendrick's part of this is going to be he's going to do the song and he's going to get to that line and he's going to say certified lover boy certified and he's going to hold it out to the crowd and the crowd's going to say it and he's not going to say it and that's
Yeah.
going to be
That's what I think the NFL doesn't want.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it's going to go through. I don't think the NFL is going to want that. That's why I think they're going to try and get him to not perform it.
I don't see how they don't. Like
No.
I feel like getting him to do it, knowing the year that he's had off of this song, that just seems like such a conflict to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that
We'll
seems
see.
like if the NFL
though.
if the NFL had any problem with this, it would have came up before they even
True.
they signed Kendrick and I just don't I
mean,
think
it
if you're
could've
gonna
came
if
up
you're gonna
behind-
have the guy
behind the door.
perform and tell him not to perform maybe his biggest song of all time,
Yeah.
that's just bad business. I'm sorry. And yeah,
And the NFL is known for bad business.
yeah, I know. No, but they're not so known for being stupid. Like they're known for being greedy and cruel. They're not known for being stupid.
Like, yeah, a lot of them are concussed, so it
Yeah.
checks out. Like,
So
I
anyway, I think we can move on.
I would put money that it might not be on there.
I'll put
We'll
money
see.
on it. I think thinking that they would book someone and tell them not to perform their biggest song ever is crack pipe thinking. If I can dub it.
what's the over under on the number of times that this actually does get played? Like, the
I
first
bet
30
it. I would say like they'll probably play it multiple times, like they did at the pop up. Like
We'll see.
yeah, and the other thing is that I just don't think TV off is anywhere near as popular. I know it's popular among nerds like us, but
It's a better meme than a song. I think the whole mustard thing,
Yeah.
ruling Twitter for was fun, whatever. I think
yeah,
doesn't have much value.
yeah. Even I thought the mustard thing was annoying. Can we move on? Because a song I think is a uncut gem from this album is Dodger Blue.
It's a love song to LA.
It's so good. It is such a roll the windows down in the summer and blast this song kind of song, right?
Yeah.
And it was the first time we've seen Roddy Ricch in a while. Like that dude blew up on the box. Haven't seen him in forever. Then he pops up again as a Kendrick feature. And you know what? I think he did a great job. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a great song. It's too short, I think.
It is
2:11.
Yeah, it's a very, very short song. It's kind of crazy to me that this song is only 20 seconds shorter than Squabble Up. Squabble Up feels...
And this has 3 features on it.
Yeah. I think it's there's a lot of... And you see this throughout, you see this with Letty Gunplay. You see this with Dodie 6. It's a lot of switching off, which I like. But it seems like the only person who gets their own space on the song to perform is SZA, because she's a singer and you kind of have to. But yeah, no, I thought Dodger Blue was one of the best songs on the album. I think it's crazy that it's not one of the ones that's blowing up a lot more. But it is such an LA song. Right?
Yeah.
I do
this is
an LA album.
Not just that, it's when you hear this song, you can hear the homage to Live and Die in LA from Tupac.
100% you can.
That was Tupac's love letter to LA.
Yeah, and it was a lot smoother than a lot of his other songs, just like this one. Or his other albums, projects. Okay.
Yeah,
so
this is about being LA.
Yeah. So moving back to vocal tick Kendrick, we have Peekaboo. I love Peekaboo grew on me. I like Peekaboo a lot.
It's good. The beat is good, but he talking about nothing.
This is the Chief talking about nothing song. I will let you know that, but what you talking about? You talking about nothing? What you talking about? They're talking about nothing. It's what the song's about.
Make it stop.
Boop bop bam. The kind of shit I believe you understand. Oh my god, dude. It's so good. I love this song. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yes, there is no more meaning in this than there is to Fiend. But Cacio de Pepe when he's doing pasta. It's so good.
I'm putting this in the same bubble as Tyler's Balloon song that I hate off an album that I think is pretty damn good. Like, I can't do it.
Really? Yeah. Oh man.
I do not enjoy Balloon. That's that sample that makes up the backing beat.
That balloon, the balloon sample, I agree is annoying. I'm all for that. I don't think there's any parts of this that are as, I don't know. What you talking about? They're talking about that. What you're talking about? That's pretty annoying, and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Jeff, do you like this song?
It's a good beat to dance to.
God.
It's a good beat to move to. That's really about it.
All right.
That's all I have to say.
Now, let's get to the song that I think has gotten an insane amount of the dialogue around this album has been about this one song's inclusion, and that's The Heart Part 6. One, I'm happy he reclaimed him from Drake. Fuck Drake.
Was Drake's version was The Heart Part 6. This is just Heart Part 6, right?
Yeah.
Is that the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think his version's even on streaming anymore, so he can call it whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this song's incredible. I love the biography about his early days in TDE. I think
love how he opens up.
I love how he opens up. I love how he talks about why he's the reason that Black Hippie never survived. Yeah, he talks about all that.
I mean, and it makes sense.
It makes total sense.
All four of them.
He
blew up.
It makes total sense. Like this single song has made me completely understand why Kendrick is on such good terms with all these artists I want him to work with, but he doesn't. Right? Like, I want more Kendrick and Schoolboy. I want more Kendrick and Absol, but like, it's done. Like, and he kind of talks about it on this. I also think
creatively they separate it.
Yeah, I also love the chorus, the sung chorus on this. I think is insanely good. Like, I don't know if it's a sample or if it was a performer.
It's a sample
of "Use Your Heart" by produced by the Neptunes from SWV. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, you're right.
Jeff, do you know the song "Stepping Stone" by Eminem?
Yes.
Basically, same energy, right? I feel like this is basically the same song, but like less an apology and more of an explanation, but like very similar concept, I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, I would have to agree. Yeah, this is him pretty much writing letters apologizing and saying, hey, this was what was going on.
Yeah.
This is why none of this worked out.
And it really makes you think
but
it makes you think like his journey is like at the top of his mind and has probably influenced.
I actually do think this song is misplaced. I think this should have been at 11 leading up into
Gloria
song.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have not thought about that. I have not. That is not a thought I've had.
With how much I'm
But when you say it out loud, I agree with you completely. Right.
I know, but when you're 10 plus hours into this album, you start thinking that way.
This is actually my number one song on my on repeat playlist on Spotify.
Heart.
Nice. This is by far the song, far and away the song I've listened to the most on this album. Granted, there's 13 songs on this album. Probably 8 of them are on my on repeat right now. Squabble Up, Luther, Hey Now, Dodger Blue, Peekaboo, Heart Part 6, and Gloria are all on my on repeat. Just absolutely fantastic. Do we want to talk about GNX? Because I think ironically, this is
one of my least favorite songs.
This is one of my least favorite songs. I don't think it's bad. It doesn't like, it's not a put off, like TV off. Like TV off, I think I see the appeal of it for people who really like it, but I just actively dislike it. This one, I am less actively disliking it, but I also think it's just kind of, it is like this is probably the most West Coast song on
Yeah,
the album, right? This feels
it
like,
definitely is.
and it almost feels like a song showcasing Hit a J3, Young Threat, and Peso. I assume that's how you say it.
Yeah, I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah,
No, I would agree. I think this would have been better if less of those three features and maybe one other big, like maybe a Tyler or some other big name West Coast, or maybe someone within TDE, like a Schoolboy or someone like that was on this also. I think uh could have helped for me at least because
yeah,
it's a really good beat. But I just think maybe just because I don't know the other three guys as
yeah,
much, well, I don't really give it much effort. But I don't know.
yeah. No, and I think like this,
It's like
the
I think
whole
Schoolboy would have killed this beat.
100%. I think like a whole major part of this album was putting on other like lower local like LA dudes like for
And that's
like
what he wants to do with PG Lang.
yeah. So to me like yeah, I see the vision and I really love the vision, but yeah, this song has just been this song like it feels like my eyes glaze over when it comes on. Like it's
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic like as an album and it just to me though it just kind of feels like a sonic bridge between Heart Part 6 and Gloria.
Mm-hmm. And Gloria.
What a closer, right? Like I am someone who really
Love letter to his pen.
yeah, no. Reminds me a lot.
And the song's named after, you're a writer, Gloria is the name of a pen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why
A
this
high
song
end pen.
of this yeah, it's a very high-end pen. And I actually have never had then again like when I get my tattoo it'll be obvious as to why I don't have a lot of pens. But like yeah, no, I really really resonated with this song almost enough that it's like kind of difficult to listen to, like not in the same way that like Mother I Sober is, but like just him talking about his process, it feels like he was hanging out on this couch one night when I was unaware, right? Because and I do feel like I feel a kinship with other writers no matter what you're writing, whether you're writing fiction, journalism, music,
Mm-hmm.
and music is as wide in and of itself as writing without music. It really was just like one of the most beautiful tributes to the craft of writing I've ever seen. And it's like, fuck, just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Jasper?
I like this one. I feel like the way it ends does not necessarily feel like a closing track for an album. I think it's really nice and like introspective and kind of opens the door on a lot of things that we haven't heard from him before.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
the way it ends, I feel like I expect there to be something after this still, you know what I mean?
I
And I
don't
have a
hate
theory.
that.
I
I don't
think
hate
that's
that.
because there's a deluxe album.
A lot of people think there's a deluxe. A lot of people think there's a whole ass other album.
Yeah.
Uh,
I feel like, maybe on the 14th we
we'll see.
get that deluxe album announced.
Maybe. So, on one hand, I really agree because yeah, I do think like this. I think this operates on an A plus flawless level just as a song in and of itself. But like when you put
Mm-hmm.
a song at the beginning and at the end of an album, they have to do other tasks than just be a good song, right? They have to
Yeah.
end
Yeah.
and uh I think Whacked Out Murals absolutely like works as a song and as an opener. Uh, to me, maybe because I have like such an emotional reaction to this song, to me it has always worked as a closer because it does feel like while there's certainly a lot of substantive and intellectual places this album goes in some of the earlier like songs like Man at the Garden and Reincarnated, I feel like this is besides maybe the Heart Part 6 the most emotional song on the album, right? And to
Yeah.
me, I think that's why it does kind of work as a closer for me. But I don't hate that take.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because just how this ends, I definitely feel like we're gonna get some sort of deluxe.
Yeah, and I also am. Yeah, I definitely think like the chance of more music, or at least music coming out a little bit more regularly, I think is definitely on the
Hmm.
table. I've seen some people say like, "Oh, this album sounds like Kendrick was just kind of in the zone after the beef and just made an album." It's like that's what you do, right? Like
Yeah,
I think like when people say that as like a negative, I think they're telling on themselves that they've never done anything creative, period. Because yeah, it's called striking when the iron is hot. It's like the main thing. Like being
hmm
a writer is not about writing. It's about structuring your whole life that when you have the time to sit down and write, you are able to do it. You know.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
I,
think
I
I think that's certainly possible that that's how it happened. I just refuse to see that as a bad thing.
I don't see it as a bad
I
thing,
do.
but it feels like you definitely get the you could definitely tell there's a, like I said, there feels like there's a disconnect in terms of just the process here. And it's not a bad thing, it's just an observable one where it's like
Yeah.
this doesn't come from the same place of 4 years of planning and prep and recording and mastering and everything else
Hmm.
that like, you know, Mr. Morale might or something else might. It's
Yeah.
just like it's
Oh
a
yeah, I
it's
think you could definitely tell. It does not have the same
Yeah.
density
more
as
polished, but yeah.
No.
I think the thing
And I
I
do
guess I
feel.
struggle with the polish thing. For me, I don't this does not feel unpolished to me.
I
Yeah.
think it,
I
it
feel.
intentionally has a rougher, like a sound
Uh,
that is rougher overall. I think it's like how it's like Kendrick's version of, I don't know, King of the Mischievous South is like an incredibly polished version of a very rough, like kind of art form, or like a
Yeah.
style,
yeah.
something similar.
Yeah. And I feel like the beef with Drake definitely had Kendrick pivot his direction at where he was going with this album. Like, like what we were saying at the beginning of the episode, like some of those songs that don't sound like right off the beef could have been made way before
Yeah.
Two
and
years
been
ago.
already planned for
And
the
we'll have
album.
no idea. Yeah.
And we'll have no idea unless there was some sort of documentary with some behind the scenes shit on this, which we never know. There could be. Uh, so I think those were already planned for the album, and then everything else that sounds mean and fuck you, Drake,
Yeah.
just pivoted right off that.
Yeah, I don't know. And I hope one day to find out more about how this album was made. I think of the albums this year, it's hard not to compare this to Chromacopia, right? Because
Totally. I was just
right
thinking that.
because like
Totally.
they're both incredibly high
Spontaneous
quality
drops.
albums that came out of nowhere at the end of the year, right? It's within a month of each other, right? It's impossible not to compare it to Chromacopia. Uh, I think the main difference between this and Chromacopia is that like Chromacopia, I don't need to know where that album came from. I can tell from the album. This, it's like I would love to know why Kendrick is going in this direction. Why? Because like
Hmm.
I guess because like Chromacopia, like the emotion is very on its surface. It's very like a. It feels like it is a natural peak of Tyler's progression, whereas this
Yeah.
does not feel. It feels forward for Kendrick. It doesn't feel like he's going backwards, but it's certainly not. It's what I wanted coming after Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It's not what I anticipated.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because like this actually is the album I wanted from Kendrick in just no uncertain terms. I wanted give me just a West Coast hip hop album. The only thing I would have liked from this is a couple bigger name features. Like I'm dying to hear a proper Kendrick Tyler feature, especially now that they are so buddy buddy. You know,
Facts.
Kendrick has made.
Another schoolboy
I
feature.
would love another Schoolboy feature. Kendrick, he called Doechii the best in hip hop right now. I would love for that to be a feature. Like he put
Well, she has her album also, so there might be on that.
for
But
sure,
there's
for
still.
sure, for sure. And like Doechii's young, and Kendrick's going to be releasing music for a long time, so that will inevitably happen. But like,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, no, this was basically everything I wanted from Kendrick, and I think the only surprise was how deep into his LA roots he was going to go. Right? Like the fact that this has Dottie Six and Lefty Gunplay as opposed to Schoolboy Q and Ob Soul is like the surprise.
It's Lefty Gunplay.
Lefty. I keep seeing it and I'm stupid. There's another Mexican rapper from Guadalajara called Letty. And I'm a fan of, so I keep getting it confused. Fun fact, he's on the To Pimp a Butterfly cover. Yeah.
I did not know that.
But yeah, so needless to say, love this album. What a year Kendrick has had. Like,
hey,
yeah,
PG Lang.
Yeah, it is
that's what it is.
Between the the beef
Lang.
was huge. Like, let's not downplay the beef. Like, let's not.
Oh, I'm not. This is just big for him, for PG Lang and him.
Oh yeah, for a first project.
PG Lang.
Yeah, for a first project. And it is like, getting back to my whole really disliking people calling this a mixtape, because I think this is a full-fledged album worthy of the respect of a full-fledged album. And I think, I just feel like if you call this an album a mixtape, that just proves to me that you were never on Dat Piff.
Facts.
It's so hard to call anything a mixtape nowadays.
Facts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I agree. Right? Like, Kings of the Mischievous South, like, tried to feel like a mixtape, and like, honestly, like, might be the biggest problem with that album is that it didn't quite get there. It still feels too much like an album. Yeah. Like,
unless the artist actually comes out and says this is a mixtape, like,
honestly, even then, like, Alligator Bites Never Heal was a mixtape, and it doesn't feel like an old school mixtape. It feels like an album, right? No. And like, it's one of my favorite projects of the year. I think it's great, but it doesn't scratch the mixtape itch.
I have a take on this, and I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's something that we've kind of alluded to, but hasn't been said explicitly. I think that very much the delivery method of the media really decides nowadays whether or not it's a mixtape or not, and the fact that the delivery method now is just Spotify or Apple Music, like these big platforms where everything is rolled out in the same way, it breaks down that barrier even further, where it's like, it doesn't fucking matter, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I think there's more to it than that, but I think that's a massive factor that gets understated for sure.
Yeah,
it's a huge factor.
The fact that you don't have to go to like some website, like a unique website for a thing, and then download it, and it's not on like a platform where you can just stream it.
Right? Like, I remember you having to keep all my mixtapes in a separate app because like you couldn't. Right? Like, oh, wild.
Damn.
Anyway,
there's like a experiential element to it that's just gone, and so the term mixtape, I think, has been really diluted.
I agree, and I think it's been so diluted that people think an album like this is a mixtape.
Yeah.
And part of me always wants more Kendrick. Part of me hopes that he doesn't release another album just to fuck over the people who are calling this a mixtape. But do we want to do grades? We've gone over every album, every track.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going A. I'm going A. Yeah, I'm going A. I may, by the time we get to the Golden Nugget, this may have appreciated into an A+, but this is an A.
I would go A+, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I think there's so much more to come from Kendrick.
Yeah. I also give ourselves.
I'm trying to be harder on what I give an A+.
Yeah. Also. I think that's I think like one of the reasons I like our scoring system is because it requires context, right? Like you cannot like just click to the end of the video and be like, oh, they gave it a 10. It's incredible. And then move on. Right. Yeah. Like an A+ Kendrick album is different than an A+ Kid Cudi album. Though there's a chance that like, and that's even a really bad example because Kid Cudi has made masterpieces. Let's use like an example, like, I don't know.
Jack Harlow. I
Yeah,
don't know.
or Jack Harlow's a perfect example. Like an A plus Jack Harlow album is not going to be anywhere near as good as an A plus Kendrick album, and you have to listen to
Yeah,
us say why, right? Like,
yeah,
so but then again, it leaves us in this place where we give everything a B or an A, like,
yeah.
yeah.
That's why it's like
So yeah,
trying to be a
I'm
little
gonna
more strict
go.
on my grading.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go A. Uh, I think just like the couple of songs that just the one song that's Wallpaper and the one song that is just TV Off is just not one of my favorite Kendrick songs by any stretch. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
But you're gonna go wild for it when you see it.
Probably because I'll be fucked up. Jasper?
All right.
Jasper.
When you said that it was impossible not to compare this to Chromacopia, I went a very different direction with it, but it was a very like selfish personal direction, and the way I feel about this album is almost exactly how I feel about Chromacopia, which is I think it is a very good project. I recognize that it is a very good project. It's not explicitly what I was looking for from this artist at this time, and it is for me it is not greater than a couple, like literally for each of them, than two projects that came before it. um and even the tour, I feel the same way, where I am less excited about the music that will be new on the tour than I am about seeing other hits from other projects that I like more. So with that said, I'm gonna give it an A minus, maybe a high B plus if I'm feeling like super critical, but that's only because the highs of Kendrick's discography for me are so high
Right.
that for me this just doesn't scratch the itch that those do.
That's totally
And
fair. Right.
yeah, it's just a very different vibe than like everything else Kendrick. I was expecting like more surgical, more focused on like we said, like human condition type stuff, like what I was really looking forward to. We didn't get that in the same way. And we got very surgical kind of lyrical play and some more on that level, like beat making, but a lot of it just feels very much like, I don't know, you're like slamming through a wall with a sledgehammer compared to some of his other stuff, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Like there's a place for that. It's just
Yeah.
not what I was looking for necessarily.
Hey, that's totally fair. And like, listen, I think like, it is just what it is. I think it's one thing. I think like Kendrick has. I like taking the step beyond like my own expectations and like trying to like appreciate something on its own level and like
Yeah.
be able to get past my own preconceived notions. But like we're all human, right? And it's like you can't give someone Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, and Miss Him Around, The Good Steppers 4 in a row, and Section 80. Let's keep. Oh, I forgot about Section 80. Right? You can't do 5 concept albums in a row and then not have people come and expect that from every album, right? So like, I think like where you're very clearly able to like take that and be like, yeah, that's not what I. But parse it apart. I think the people who have outright rejected this album for that reason is like a little silly. But yeah, I think like that's valid. To me, I was looking for him to shake that. I thought Mr. Morale, as much as I really did like it, once again, like we're talking about the space between spaces. I wanted him to do something more fun. Right. And like, and you know what? Is this exactly what I wanted? Not really. I wanted a Hillbillies album. But like, but if I was like solo Kendrick album, I wanted to be a West Coast throwback. I wanted it to be a love letter to LA. And that's what we got. So
yeah,
hard to be upset and hard to not just look back and just be in awe of this year.
Yeah, I was really very on the fence about actually getting a ticket to this show, just because the album didn't hit for me the way I think it hit for like you guys, and then obviously Purvis. And we did just see him at Lala like last year. So for me, the only reason I think I really got one, and maybe this album will grow on me in the 6 months until that show happens, but like the main reason I got one is because I have been listening to so much more of him since I did in like summer of last year, that I'm very excited to see songs from Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn again, and even Mr. Morale again, and like have a newfound appreciation for those. That's like the main draw me right now, at least.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think that's totally fair.
I see that. This is going to be my 4th time seeing him.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it's gonna be.
And I've seen him at different stages of his career. So,
Yeah,
like, me and
yeah,
Brandon seen him in 2012, right before Good Kid, Mad City, and then we saw him again
right
on the
before.
Yeezus tour,
Yeah, right
Yeah.
after Good Kid, Mad City, but a few
right
years before
after.
To Pimp a Butterfly. It was like a really.
Yeah, it was right before that,
It was
and
the
then
end of
we saw him
2013,
Lala.
wasn't it?
Yep, that was 2013.
2013
Yeah,
was the Yeezus tour, and then To Pimp a Butterfly didn't come out until February 2015. So it was
Yep.
pretty long before
yeah,
that. But you know, it's kind of weird because like we went 10 years between, show number 2 and show number 3. It was like a
yeah.
10-year gap. But no, I couldn't be
And
more
then 3
excited
and
for
4
this.
is like right, and 3 and 4 is right there,
Exactly.
just like the first 2.
Oh, oh my god. But yeah, I couldn't be. I'm very excited for it. I also do not want to underplay SZA. SZA is an artist I would pay.
No.
Uh, I probably would have paid most of what I paid to see both of them just for SZA alone. If I wouldn't have seen her last year at Lala, I probably would have paid half of what I did pay to see her, having already seen her once. She is she is one of the best like R&B like creatives right now, and her performance at Lala last year was stunning. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see her on this. So yeah, do we want to move on to recommendations?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh my god, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah, please go first because I've
I'll
been
go first.
listening to books. Like,
I don't know how I came across this song. It's a newer song. It's No Love by Trap Dicky featuring Big X the Plug.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how I came across it. I started listening to it and I liked it. It's good. I highly recommend it.
All right,
Next.
Jasper.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a leaf out of Brandon's book real quick. I'm gonna go with a Hosier song.
I do love Hosier.
I'm gonna do Like Real People Do.
Oh, that's a great song.
Love that song.
Okay, I'm gonna do, because it popped up on my top 100 songs. I've gone back and listened to this album a lot. I'm gonna recommend Renegade by Kavinsky off the Reborn album. That album's perfect. That is probably the best album to come out besides Forever Story. Besides that one. That one's great. But yeah, no. Kavinsky, Renegade off that Reborn album. Hell yeah.
All right. My next one is going to be a Kids See Ghost, Kanye and Kid Cudi montage.
That song's so fucking good. I've been listening to it all week. Hell yeah.
I love it. It's a great song. I like this album.
I love Kids See Ghost. I think Kids See Ghost is a 10 out of 10 album.
I feel like now that we've gotten the lack of Kanye out of our system with the Spotify Wrapped being what it is, it's like, all right, now we're gonna I don't want to say reintroduce, but
I didn't not listen to
last week I had a Kanye recommendation last week, but I did a Brandon. I had Last Call by J. Cole, and then I had Last Call by Kanye.
I actually had a big moment this year. Like, one of my biggest musical moments this year was like, not to bring the vibe down, but when I was horribly depressed and borderline suicidal, and I was like, I just need to listen to Kanye. And it worked. It worked. It made me feel way better. Okay, my first one. Oh, no.
Second.
Is it my turn already?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, so I am going to recommend.
Or wait, I don't know.
Have you done both of yours?
Jasper didn't go.
Jasper.
I did both mine. Jasper.
I haven't done my second. I think
do your second, Jasper.
I was going through my shuffle and a song that I haven't heard in a while came on, which I missed it, and it's Man on the Moon, the original from the deluxe edition, originally from a kid named Cudi. It's Cudi rapping over the song Aquarium by No Such Thing from like 2006. Not a lot of people know that, but it was an instrumental track that came out first, and he just co-opted it for the project. So good. And like definitely more junior Kid Cudi. Like it doesn't have the refinement of some of his later stuff. You could tell it's really early, but it's
Yeah.
genuine and it's just like a
That song's
good kind of solid.
fantastic. That song's
Yeah.
fantastic. I really do prefer the Man on the Moon recording uh to the Kid Named
Kid named
Cudi.
Cudi.
Yeah.
I think it might actually be the same one for that one track. Because it's that and then
I
is
think
there
it might be dubbed.
I think
Like
it's
it might be
dubbed.
just dubbed,
Okay, yeah.
like newer,
Yeah, I think
but
it's newer vocals.
everything's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Day and Night. Like Day and Night is like the same beat, the same performance, but they mix it differently. And to me, I think
Yeah,
it just doesn't
yeah.
hit nearly as good on Kid Named Cudi, which is a
Yeah.
great mixtape. Don't get me wrong. Okay. Is it my turn?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Jeff. Jasper wasn't here last week. We were all very upset about how expensive Kendrick tickets were. And on top of that, he announced it in December. No, look at me. Any artist, look at me. Don't announce a tour in December. There's a
Facts.
major gift giving holiday. As a matter of fact, there are several in different cultures that all take place in December. And it's expensive. And also the price of heating goes up. So don't do that. So not only did my
But two of
favorite
you unknown.
not only did my favorite rapper ever got his album right on the wall there announce that he was going to do a tour, my favorite metal band, I literally have money in an envelope for this band, announced a tour at the same location. And now I have to buy 3 tickets because, well, I'm going to get Jeff's.
You have those tickets. They're fucking expensive.
Yeah. I am going to be recommending Prison Song by System of a Down.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, System of a Down just announced their first tour in Chicago since 2015.
And that makes it for an epic 4 days at Soldier Field because that's the same weekend as My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
And
think
today was the
AC/DC.
today was the first day the System of a Down tickets were on sale. They sold out faster than the Black Parade, and they had to do a
Pre-sale,
second.
they were pretty much all gone.
Yeah. So I know I'm gonna have to eat out the nose to go to this show. I don't care. I make enough money now that I can afford to do this. So and
I will try and get free tickets from the radio.
yeah, try and do that because it's going to be several months before I can. But I'm already looking at resale. They're still cheaper than the Kendrick tickets.
Yes.
They're still cheaper than Kendrick tickets right now. But Prison
Yeah.
Song, System of a Down. If you, fine viewer, would like to know how I got like this, just listen to Prison Song. It's just yelling prison statistics for 3.5 minutes, and it changed who I am as a human being because I listened to it when I was 13.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Black Parade tickets on resale are actually as expensive as Kendrick. for a lot of
I
it.
think they're more.
It's insane.
They
I think
probably
they're
are
more.
because it's such a limited tour.
Yeah, no, I think it's more.
It's so
than
funny because they
Kendrick.
did the reunion, so it's like you'd think Chicago would be a little less saturated, but no.
But they did a lot of the most of the reunion stops were festivals, which I think factors into the whole thing. Like we saw them at Riot Fest, and like the Riot Fest show was iconic. So like when we didn't get tickets, Rachel is a bigger fan than I am. I'm not a huge
And-
My Chemical Romance fan.
There were still a lot of people who missed out on that show.
Yeah, so I'm all for that. It's just I just wish they stopped dropping announcing concerts in December.
Weeks before Christmas.
12
days before Christmas.
Yeah.
I
So
totally forgot about this, but I have a quick, fun little story about that exact night. Before we wrap up here, which is that Katie and I went that night. We had the option of potentially going to Riot Fest, which she really wanted to do because of the reunion
Chem.
tour. Yeah, for my chem. But that was the same night that Kid Cudi had his Man on the Moon 3
yeah, I know.
shop in
All my friends were there, and
And to heat it up a little bit, it's also our anniversary, September 16th. So Kid Cudi has a song called September 16th. Now I had bought the Kid Cudi tickets months in advance, like May, and then it was later that it was announced that my chem was doing the thing.
yeah. So like go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I have a
Well,
funny
had that
story about the
issue
Kid
because
Cudi.
It was delayed. It was postponed.
Which?
They were supposed to be the Mike Hem. They were supposed to be the year prior at Riot
Yeah,
Fest.
because of the
So that was the whole thing. So what ended up happening is she was a trooper and stuck it out and went with me to this thing because it was like I had gotten the tickets around my birthday, and it was like I was excited for it to be like my birthday thing, but also like a fun anniversary thing for us. And there's a song called September 16th that Cuddy played at the thing, and that's about someone who's special to him. So it was real cute and all that. But at the end, she was pretty disappointed because she didn't get to go. Hindsight's 2020. It's probably good that we weren't there because of just how many people ended up like getting hurt, and she is not like a proud person like that. But now it's like finally 2 years later, I can kind of pay it back because I did get the tickets and it falls right around her birthday. So that's like her birthday celebration thing for next year. So
Brownie
it's
points.
Very
kind of
good.
worked out. Yeah.
My story is that so Rachel had tickets for the 2021 My Chem
Yeah.
Riot Fest
Yeah.
that they postponed.
Yep.
So when she postponed it. She didn't go in 2021. I did because I saw Run the Jewels and Lupe Fiasco. Love that freak. Anyway, so my first birthday that we were together, she was like, "Hey, your big, gift is that I got you tickets to Riot Fest, so you can come with me to see My Chem." So, and she's like, "And you come with me to see My Chem, and then we'll see whatever else you want because I have 3-day tickets, and I really only want to see them." And like 2 days later, they announced the Kid Cudi tour, and it was the same day. And I was just like, "Sorry, can't do it. I just, what am I supposed to do here?"
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, this was, we first time in a while we went over the 2-hour mark, boys. Without our biggest yapper. Without anyone having to stop the podcast because he can't control his laughter. Like,
I don't know. I think I give him a run for yapping, but maybe on a good day.
On a good day, you give him a run for yapping for sure. But like, subscribe, tell us how much we suck. Tell us that you hate this Kendrick album. Do it. Tell us that we didn't like it enough. I don't care. I don't know.
Or tell us that we overpaid for tickets because we've seen him recently.
I don't care. I'll pay whatever to see Kendrick Lamar. He made
I'll pay whatever to see him.
He played
you
good.
feel
I need to have him overpass Kanye for the amount of times I've seen an artist live.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that is that for this episode, and good night.